Welcome back to the Movie Marathon Men. I'm Owen Garner.
And I'm Luke Carr!
Oh, and we watch films that make us go, oh! So today we are getting in that spooky spirit, aren't we, Luke? Yes, we are. We're doing another episode of Babies First, and today we're getting ready for Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. By
Beetlejuice.
watching... No! So, yes, here we are, another episode of Babies First. Just to recap for you, this is where we look at a director or a producer even, or a writer or an actor, a genre, the whole body of work, and we ask the question, what should your first watch, as in Babies First words, steps, or Tim Burton film in this case. So we're looking at their whole body of work. So Tim Burton, we're looking at the original Frankenweenie from the 80s, Beetlejuice, Batman Returns, feel free to join in, Edward Scissorhands.
You're doing such a good job.
Big Fish, Sweeney Todd, Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children.
Alice in Wonderland.
Dumbo.
Absolutely. Frankenweenie again.
Dark Shadows.
Wednesday, the Netflix series.
Alice in Wonderland, Through the Looking Glass. You've given me all the bangers.
Yeah, which he's a producer on. So we're also looking at things that he's a producer on. So that also gives us James and the Giant Peach and The Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's the big one. That was the massive question mark coming into this for me is, are we including that in this?
Yeah, absolutely, because I'm including James and the Giant Peach. So both of those films directed by Henry Schlick, who is a sort of collaborator of his quite often. So his work is also Coraline and other films like that. There's Wendell and the something.
We'll come back to you with a Henry Schlick.
Yes.
Babies First, of course.
Yeah.
It'll be one of those three.
It'll be
because clearly it's not the others.
Yeah. So yeah, we are looking at produced by, because it's from the wonderful world of Tim Burton. Planet of the Apes.
How could you forget?
Corpse Bride. Have we said that?
We hadn't, no.
Well, so clearly quite a storied filmography. I was surprised by how often he works.
Yes.
Not in like a, God, he's rubbish. But to me, it just feels like his films would take much longer to come up with and create the world and all of that. It's quite prolific, really.
Same axes.
Done quite
same
a lot.
sort of sets. You just go one film into the other.
Yeah.
Just kick one woman out, get another one in. Keep everyone else the same.
Yeah.
I enjoyed myself watching these films. I will say, film 3 in, I thought, just not another one.
Yeah, right.
It was a lot.
Yeah. See, absolute opposite for me. Tim Burton's one of my favourite directors because I'd already watched so many of his films. So I've watched about 15 of his films. You've probably now watched a comparable amount.
It's about that, yeah.
Having watched a bunch recently.
Yep.
Well, let's start, at the beginning. A very good place to start. And that is release date.
Yeah.
So what have you gone with for Tim Burton on a release date basis?
Well, so we're talking heyday. We're talking the meat of him. For me, it is The Nightmare Before Christmas. This thing is 93.
Right.
That came out. Because there's a hard AP line in his filmography, and it just goes Planet of the Apes, and then suddenly it's like CGI, glossy, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory onwards sort of stuff. So there's a big Planet of the Apes line there. But between 88, that was Beetlejuice. Can only say that twice more. And 98, in that decade, which ends at Sleepy Hollow, he put out the film I just mentioned.
Yeah.
He put out Batman
Returns.
Put out Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
Mars Attacks, and then Sleepy Hollows. Yeah. That 10-year period, in the middle of it, Nightmare Before Christmas.
I mean, I've gone for a very similar one. I've gone with Edward Scissorhands. So it's after he's arrived.
Yeah.
He's done his first few big films. So he's done Pee Wee Herman's.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, of course, yeah.
He's done Pee Wee Herman. And then, so that's kind of first film that is kind of big.
Yeah.
And then he's done Beetlejuice and Batman. And you're like, right, I get it. I now know who this guy is and what he's doing. And then you enter the beginning of that Johnny Depp era.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of Johnny Depp in these, so buckle up.
Yeah.
But for me, that's him right at the start of like, okay, so he's full Tim Burton, but it's not become grating, or it's not lost its shine a little bit. So we have very much the suburban obsession that he clearly has, and the dark and spooky other world. The sort of, as Stranger Things has taken the upside down, there is like,
this one is quite high up.
It's suburbia, and it's this spooky place that's next to it. That's very Burton-esque.
I don't feel strongly about this. You can have yours, because this is my possibly least controversial. That's not to say that they're controversial coming up. It's just that my opinions suck.
So, as if by magic, Edward Scissorhands has appeared on that list there.
Yeah, it went smoothly. No one dropped anything.
You can see that I've clearly dropped the whiteboard. I mean, hopefully it's far back enough that you can't really see it, actually.
That's what I always hope. The production design elements are so far away that no one can pay attention to them.
That's all we can hope for. Well, let's move on to our next category.
Yes.
And to be honest, you're going to have to go first because I forgot to come up with one for this. So you're going to have to go first.
I think the easiest one to watch is Beetlejuice. I think that it gets to the premise very quickly. It's a very inviting story. It's very simple, to be honest. Yeah. And they tell you what's going on, which they don't tend to do in Tim Burton films. They just sort of it's happening.
Yes.
Because you have an actual set of fish out of water.
Yeah.
You have an audience insert of two people going, excuse me, what are the rules here? What can we do? Can't we do?
Yes. Yeah, and the film has a literal handbook.
Yeah. So it guides you through the Tim Burton world.
Yes.
And it's literally idiot proof.
We'll say there's an argument to be made for Sweeney Todd. It being a musical, they do a lot of exposition.
I agree with you there.
They sing their exposition. So when we're saying easiest, it's, can you just sort of switch off?
But the thing is,
it is quite dark.
I will say Sweeney Todd that was the one out of every film I watched on Burton. That was the one that I did not want to finish. I just could not get into it. Didn't finish it.
He didn't
finish it. It was, you're right, dark.
Mm-hmm.
Visually, I could not see it. Not an easy watch. Aged my eyes significantly, just scrunching at my face to sort of get a peek, and then suddenly it'd be daylight and Johnny Depp's face would just be there.
Yeah.
I think I've gone off of arguing for Beetlejuice. I'm now arguing against Sweeney Todd. I was so unengaged in this film. It was the songs were so plodding, and you sort of get the point fairly quickly. And Sweeney Todd is not particularly likable or engaging. I know he's sort of the antagonist. Sort of everyone's an antagonist in the film, to be honest. But they were just it's the worst pies in London. The worst pies. These pies are bad. I don't like these pies.
His
and it
accent's not great.
No,
as well.
But it was
it sounds very Jack Sparrow. When he's doing it, it's this is just that accent.
It was quite a jump, to be honest, from the Johnny Depp of the Edward Scissorhands and Ed Wood to him being the Johnny Depp that we know now.
Yes,
worlds apart to me. That sort of him in Sweeney Todd. Can't remember. Even Charlie and Chocolate Factory wasn't like that at all.
He
was high pitched
and
Michael Jackson-y in but this Sweeney Todd, I feel honestly even more so than Jack Sparrow is what began the end of Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Because that's where he doubled down. That's where they went, you're going to be Sweeney Todd. You can play it however you want. He's fictional. And he went like Jack Sparrow, but without the fun.
Yes. Yeah. Jack Sparrow, no fun, murdery.
Yeah. There's the other argument I have for easiest watch is Nightmare Before Christmas, because it's more of a kid's film.
I will say, though, about Nightmare Before Christmas, in terms of easiest watch, not in summer.
It is both Halloween and Christmas. It has that going for it.
Yeah. So, okay.
So that's 2 days a year.
There's a 3-month period that you can watch it. But I'm just saying, in terms of devil's advocate, if we're saying this is the easiest one to watch, and somebody's going, well, it's May, so no.
So yeah, you can watch Beetlejuice whenever. I think it's the easiest. But you might strongly disagree, although you haven't.
There we are. We haven't. That's our list so far. That's what we're working with. Cultural relevance. Now, this is the one that I would say I feel the most bullish on.
Right. Good. Go.
Batman.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
You were going to say Beetlejuice.
No, he's you're right. It is Batman.
You're going to say something ridiculous, aren't you? What are you going to say?
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
That is insane. That is the most wrong that it could possibly be.
I think that's the most wrong you could be.
It's not the most wrong, but it's definitely there are like 3 above Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in terms of cultural relevance. For us growing up, it's Batman, it's Beetlejuice, and Edward Scissorhands. People still dress up as Edward Scissorhands at Halloween.
Yeah, but Charlie and that's
people
the Charlie
have Edward Scissorhands tattoos.
Oh, they do, but those are the edge case people. These are like the fans of spooky stuff love Beetlejuice and love Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah,
but I think everyone has seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, I guess. And the thing about his grandparents, people always reference that on the internet.
Yeah,
people were referencing that a lot in COVID. They were like, "Can't believe I've turned into one of the grandparents."
And the Oompa Loompas and everything. And I know it's because there's the original, it's the Roald Dahl and the Gene Wilder one.
Yeah.
But if you hadn't, I think like you would get more discussion out of people from, does anyone remember Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Then you've seen Beetlejuice. I think a lot of people haven't seen Beetlejuice. Which
I found out when I was doing the cinema programming role, I put on Beetlejuice because the new film's coming out this year. So that was last year that I put it on. And it was like, oh yeah, come see this. And everyone was like, yeah, I've never seen it before. And I was like, wow, I really thought this was... But that was the first time... No, that was the second time that I saw it. I saw it on a plane and fell asleep. So then I had to watch it when I got there. So... Maybe that's why I was a little doubtful on it being the easiest watch, because I literally passed out when the first time I was watching it. But yeah,
no, you're right. Batman is the most. I just forgot about it, which sounds like that's me arguing against it. It transcends Tim Burton to the point where I just forget that it's Tim Burton.
Well, from the cultural relevance to his most representative, I think that Batman, almost the antithesis of that. It's sort of... There's lots of Burton tinges to Gotham. It's still quite spooky, but it's almost more grounded than his other things.
Yeah.
So most representative for me, and it's a bit of a sort of left field answer in a way, I think.
I think mine's going to be more left field. Right. But I want you to go first.
Well, mine is Nightmare Before Christmas.
Right, yeah. But yeah.
So it's left field because he's not even the director.
Yeah.
But original story, written by, produced by... It's got Danny Elfman as the music.
Yeah.
It's got Henry Schlick as the like animation thing. Yeah. So it's him with usual collaborators. It's very Burton-esque. It's spooky. It's cozy. It's kind of at once dark and Technicolor.
Yeah.
So you have Halloween and Christmas. For me, that's just so Burton. That's this is Burtopia.
Yeah,
it's so like, just not real, but in such a fun way. It's perfect escapism into this world, and it's just good fun.
Yeah, I don't disagree for those points. But on this question, representative. Now, I'm going to have to speak for a while before I say this, because I know as soon as I say it, it's going to be met with the opposite of agreement.
Right.
But we have to acknowledge there are the good films, like the absolutely incredible films at the start.
Yeah.
And then there's the new films, which are a very different feel.
Right.
So the representative has to capture both. It can't be like quality-wise. You can't be like the most representative is the best one. It's like it's Beetlejuice. It's the first. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
Because Beetlejuice is not like Alice in Wonderland. Or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
No.
So...
I already don't agree with this, by the way. Because I don't agree with your reasoning.
What? The whole of his filmography. He has as many of the like super glossy, weird CGI Johnny Depp doing a stupid voice stuff as he does the grounded, practical effects, sort of campy, cozy stuff.
Yeah.
This one, that I'm about to say, has all of both of it, and it's not very good.
What, Dumbo?
No, it's not Dumbo. It's Dark Shadows.
Right. Okay.
Because I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't.
But it is Johnny Depp as a vampire.
Yeah. I know the
and he is awoken.
I've seen clips.
And his family live in his descendants live in his mansion. And the family's in a bit of ruin. Their old business is falling apart.
Yeah.
He comes back and he's walking around like because he's been in a box for 200 years.
Doing fish out of water.
Fish out of water. Johnny Depp is in it, but not in the good way that he was in before. He's doing his hammed up Johnny Depp stuff. Helena Bonham Carter's in there.
Yeah.
Danny Elfman's score. And it's got that contrast of Eva Green's in there as well.
Yeah.
You've got the dark, spooky death stuff. The boring everyday, like a vampire goes to a supermarket and tries to buy some sausages and all this sort of like the What We Do in the Shadows, but like terrible.
Yeah.
It is okay as a film, forgettable, but it has all of the Tim Burton stuff in there. Because I can't say that Edward Scissorhands.
So at the start of this video, when you said Tim Burton's not for me, that's what's led you into this opinion.
No. It wasn't.
Your opinion's right. You can't say that the most representative is that. So when we're going to do Francis Ford Coppola, you're going to include Captain EO in that it goes from The Godfather to Captain EO. So you have to pick one that's right in the middle.
I'm going to say that Tim Burton is as much known for most people with his Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Planet of the Apes, bad films, as he is for his good films. Whereas Francis Ford Coppola is known for like 4 films.
Yes.
Whereas
and then you find out that he did a bunch of bad ones as well, which is quite funny.
You say Tim Burton, most people our age reaction to Tim Burton is kind of
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah. Like you go,
Alice
it's Wednesday, it's from Tim Burton, and everyone goes,
Yeah.
I'll hold off till reviews come in, to be honest.
Yeah.
And you go Johnny Depp and Tim Burton, you don't go, great Oscar nomination, like potential performances. You go the dumb stuff he's done since.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I until I watched Dark Shadows, I sort of was on the Nightmare Before Christmas train as well. So I don't disagree with you. I just have a better opinion, you know. But also,
and that's why I'm writing down your one.
You really do struggle with dyslexia, don't you? It almost looks like you've written Nightmare Before Christmas.
I do. It's a daily struggle. But no, that's just how I spell
Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows. Yeah. No, I think it's Nightmare Before Christmas. We've both said our opinion. I would say about 4 times now. And we've not moved through it.
No.
Let's move on.
Best.
Yes. It would be best to move on to our final category. And that is, what is his best film?
Yes.
Well, there's one that you haven't seen that people make the case for, Big Fish.
Yep.
I saw that when I was very little. I was on a ferry going over to France. Fish. I was a little fish. I thought it was quite, on message because I was on the ferry when I was watching a film about fish. But it's not about fish because, that's what my kid brain thought.
Yeah.
It's more of like a sort of extended metaphor for what I know not because I was a child, so I can't really talk about that. And you definitely
I cannot. I can try. Another road for me.
Yeah. So what would we say is his best?
Well, I've got an answer.
Yeah.
But annoyingly, I don't think you've seen it. His best that I watched is Edward.
Yes, so I've heard that is widely talked about. Those are the 2 that people hold up as these are actually his best.
For me, there's about, without having seen Big Fish, there's 4 that I could pick from. Mm-hmm. Edward's for me just like a clear little bit above, but Edward Scissorhands, Beetlejuice, and Nightmare Before Christmas are a 4 that are for me by themselves that they're his.
I think you're right.
They're all good. I could be persuaded to pick one of the others as the best. Maybe Big Fish is just as good.
Yeah. So for what I know about Edward, all in black and white.
Yes.
So we've got that stylized kind of thing. It's about a filmmaker.
It's about Edward D. Wood, the film, the real life B film, sort of voted worst director ever.
Yeah.
And
so it's about weird people in a weird world, shot in quite a stylized way. But it's Johnny Depp at the beginning of his career when he was still doing interesting things
because he's doing. I think he has prosthetic teeth in this. I'm not sure, but his voice in this is unlike any Johnny Depp voice that he's had elsewhere. It's high pitched and energetic and kind of New Yorky and sort of he's the eccentric puppy dog rather than the surly sort of weirdo. But you have a great performance from him. It's about him making sort of B movies, but horror B movies. So you have a lot of spooky stuff, but it's campy bad, vampires from whenever this film is set, 1950s horror films or whatever. And you've got that Transylvania sort of stuff.
So he's able to throw in all of his different touches.
Yeah.
But you didn't think that would be representative.
It's not very representative of the whole of his filmography, because
his oeuvre.
Exactly. It doesn't feel wholly like a Tim Burton film, and that's not an insult in either direction. It's a separate sort of film. It's a biopic, but it's shot almost like a B movie. It's like it's shot to be a bit campy. The dialogue's a bit weird, but but consistent. It's good.
So yeah, I'm happy with that. So here is our list. I'm going to try and not mess up the board even more than I already have. Hold that up for you.
By that you mean by preferring your answers over mine, not the actual mess you've made.
I've just written Edward, haven't I?
There's a massive error there, just representative.
Yeah. What do we think though? For Tim Burton, is the category that you should favour? I will say I don't think it's Edward.
No, it's not.
I don't think you should start there, because it's with someone like Tim Burton, who's so sort of singular and stylized, you're wanting to go more for the representative or easiest or release date.
You're absolutely right. It's not Edward, and it's not Batman.
No, I don't think it's Batman.
I think for quite a few people it might have been Batman, just not even knowing that it's Tim Burton. Yes. But I almost don't even count that as a Tim Burton film. I think if someone said, I've seen a Tim Burton film, I've seen Batman, I would maybe just even say, no.
Yeah.
Try again. You're right, maybe representative is the right way to go, and that's why my answer is going to be Dark Shadows.
So, yeah, you think it should be Dark Shadows?
I think the first Tim Burton film you should watch should be Dark Shadows.
I think that's a ridiculous thing to say. I think maybe with somebody like Tim Burton, he's not as accessible to some. They kind of maybe don't know what's going on. Maybe you want the easiest watch.
No, my actual answer is Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Not just because of the new film coming out. For this period of time, it's absolutely Beetlejuice.
Yes.
To get in ahead of the second one.
But also, so what we're saying is, hey, get ready for Beetlejuice. What should be the first Tim Burton movie that you watch to get yourself ready for like his style?
Yeah.
Then you would be going for the easiest and the most representative, and maybe the release date one, because the cultural relevance and the best are not going to be what's on show here.
I really think that other ones where we've picked the easiest watch is because the person is at their most. It's quite hard to watch. It's quite hard to pass their style or whatever. And the easiest watch is usually the blandest, because it's like it's just I think with Greta Gerwig we picked just the rom-com. Yeah. No, I can't even remember the name of it. But
I can't remember the name of it. I fought for that.
But you pick that one because
somebody's plan. Maggie's
plan. So
somebody's plan.
But Tim Burton doesn't make that many bland films.
No.
So there's not a basic one.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice though has all of him, and as I say, it's just so it's comforting to watch. Honestly, like you're not spooked out and weirded out, and like it's not gory, it's not complex.
No.
And it tells you what's going on.
Yeah.
Like I think it's definitely the one you should watch first. I think you could watch Edward Scissorhands as well. That's quite a basic premise. There's not a lot of lore there.
No.
I just think it's just less. It's not as enjoyable as Beetlejuice. Yeah. And then Night Before Christmas could be as well. I think those three are all good options. But Beetlejuice is the one.
But also, like, if you want to watch more before going to the cinema, those are the ones to do. You could go with Edward Scissorhands first, but I think our recommendation is Beetlejuice. So there we have it. I mean, we'll be back with a review of the new film, Beetlejuice. We've said it about 9 times in this video. I know. It probably does. It circle round again if you say his name enough. It just goes away. We'll find out, because they'll definitely establish like new lore in the film needlessly. Maybe they won't. Maybe the film will be amazing. We'll be back with a review of the film.
Yeah, I'm looking forward for those trademark Dark Shadows shots.
We're really hoping to get our review. I'm just going to ignore you. We're really hoping to get our review up the day after, so that'll be on Saturday the 7th. But if not, it'll be up on Sunday. Well, but if not, how are you going to know what we're doing when things are coming out? The best way to know what we're doing is to subscribe to the channel, and it makes us feel so happy. You know, it lifts us out and it shines a light, and those dark shadows, they just fade away. If you've liked this video, then unlike it, because this boy, silly suggestions. Well, we have been the Movie Marathon Men. and I think we've come up with a pretty solid suggestion for what should be Babies First. I was just checking that it wasn't actually the first film that we mentioned, because then people could have just ignored us for the rest. But yeah, it's his easiest watch, and I'm quite confident.
I'm confident. There's no way anyone can disagree.
Well, there we are. Thanks for watching. As I say, please remember to like and subscribe. And yeah, we'll be back with our review of Beetlejuice. But until then, goodbye. Beetlejuice.
It was Beetlejuice.
Mm-hmm. Done Beetlejuice and
Beetlejuice. Arguing for Beetlejuice. I'm not watch Beetlejuice whenever.
You were going to say Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Yes.
Beetlejuice though. Beetlejuice.
No!